Good morning, everybody. I think we're back live here. I'm going to turn and say, are we live? Okay, it's delayed. All right. I'm going to assume that we are, and I'm going to go ahead and get going here. First of all, welcome back, everyone. I know this is absolutely extraordinary times, and we are opening a school year unlike we've ever occurred. I've mentioned on a number of occasions that in spite of the fact of this being my 27th opening of school and start of the school year, the other 26 have no value in terms of experience and what I can draw from and how I can learn. This is my first year of school, as it is for all of us. With that, I think there's an immense amount of opportunity here. There's a tremendous amount of excitement that we can draw from. But we have some really tough challenges ahead of us. There's no doubt about it. Before we get into a little bit about that, I want to first begin with offering some thank yous to so many people who have done so much over the past several months. You know, it's hard to imagine that, on March the 12th would have been the last time that we were together as a group and that we were in school and we had kids and life was somewhat normal. I guess you'd have to go back a couple days before that to really feel that value of normal and what that felt like. Here we were coming off of a major victory for the enhancement millage. We had just gone through some exciting opportunities of staff development and talking about how we reimagine what learning looks like. And then in a short amount of time, school is closed and we're thrown into this virtual experience that we've lived in for so long. And I know that a lot of us are anxious to get back to normal. But backing up, thank you. Thank you to everyone who has been so involved in this process and providing input and guidance and leadership to get us to move through this from the shutdown until this very moment. Thank you to our food service workers who were on the job the entire time, have been providing meals to this community throughout the summer months. We're at curbside helping families out in their time of crisis and have been here every step of the way. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. To our operations and maintenance people, our custodial staff, the work that you've done has been nothing short of remarkable. And I know that there's a lot of stuff that we continue to work on as we open schools, but there's no game plan for any of this. You've been thrown into an environment that you're not overly familiar with, but you keep that core value of work ethic and flexibility and agility and how can I help attitude with you every step of the way, and I just can't thank you enough for that. To our secretaries and guidance counselors and everyone that's scrambling right now, working so hard to develop schedules and connect families and be responsive to the many needs of our staff. I just can't thank you guys enough. I know that this has been an exceptionally challenging environment to reopen schools, and you are bearing the brunt of the phone calls of people that are concerned. I just can't thank you enough for being the person on the other end of the phone that is caring, that is empathetic, that puts yourself in those people's shoes to help them through this tough time. Our support staff, I could just go on and on and on about everything that people have done. Our support staff being so heavily involved in reopening plans and offering to help every step of the way. This idea of all hands on deck, and we're going to do everything that we need, regardless of what I used to do to what I'm going to be doing or where can I help. We've seen an attitude that shouldn't surprise me, but certainly as you hear of challenges that other districts throughout the county and state and throughout the United States, some people have lost their way of this idea of we are in this difficulty together. And the only way we get out of this is to continue to work together. our bus drivers who, over the summer months, carted people around to help celebrate our graduating seniors. Just always a smile and always a willingness to help, and just really getting out there and serving the community and making a difference and making that experience possible for our families. Our administrators over the past from March on, really forever, have been the kind of servant leaders that you would come to expect here at Lakeshore. There's been no time off for these people. There's been very little time off for any of us, and I know people are tired, and I know that people are working absolutely the best that they can, but with the interest of making sure that we can reopen safely. And that we can protect our most valuable resource that we have here at Lakeshore, which is our students and our staff. And then finally, to our teaching staff, the work that you guys have done, the collaboration that we've had, and the ingenuity and flexibility and everything that you would come to expect from Lakeshore, but really is something that you just don't see everywhere. I can't thank you enough for your involvement in the development of our Return to Learn plan, the immense amount of time and energy that you've put into this. Not only these different groups, but our union leadership. I mean, everybody has been all hands on deck, and for that I'm incredibly thankful and grateful that I work with such incredible people. I just want to talk very briefly about a couple things, but beginning with, most importantly, whatever you're feeling right now is okay. I know that there's a lot of people that are very nervous to return to school. They're concerned about their health. They're concerned about the health of the loved ones. They're concerned about the health of our students. I know that there's people that are ready to jump right in, and if they could have come back to work in March, they would have done that as well. Wherever you're at on that spectrum, I want you to know that it's okay. And I want to encourage all of us to understand that just because we might feel something, doesn't mean that everybody should feel that way. Some of you, again, are eager to get back. Some of you are reticent to get back. What's most important here is that we continue to serve in whatever capacity that looks like. So I want to just tell you that what you're feeling is okay. And that I think it's incumbent upon all of us to rely on one another and to offer our support to one another to carry people through this difficult time. And it begins with understanding that not everyone thinks the same way we do, not everyone believes the same way that we do, and our differences are going to make us stronger than they will bring weakness to our organization. Above all things, safety is our first priority. I think we have to reset exactly what the expectations and redefine what the expectations are for this school year. I've already heard people just lumping a tremendous amount of pressure on themselves of things that they want to get done, of things that they want to achieve. And for all of you that have that eagerness, I don't want to hold you back. If there's things that you're off and running and you want to do, far be it from any of us to hold you back. There's great opportunity here. But I do want to encourage all of us to understand that with the situation that we're in, we really need to redefine what our expectations are. We have a tremendous amount of freedom this year. We have a number of regulatory items that have been lifted from public schools, and all in this idea that we have to reopen schools in some capacity. We have to be here for our community in some capacity, whatever that looks like. From the onset of this and the development of the plan, and once the plan has been released, we offer a virtual solution for families that are not comfortable returning to school, and then we offer some type of in-person instruction, whatever that might look like, for families that are eager to get back. And again, going back to this idea that safety is the first priority, in our plan, we've gone through a variety of scenarios and working with the Macomb County Health Department to make sure that we are not putting people at greater risk than they might be otherwise. And the reality is we don't live in a zero risk society. There's risk inherent in everything that we do. But we need to make sure that we are mitigating that risk everywhere possible, that we're keeping an exceptionally close eye on where we're at in terms of transmission of COVID-19, that we are taking every safety precaution that we possibly can to make sure that our staff is safe and that our students are safe. And so it begins with this idea of, if we're going to return to in-person instruction, how can we do that small? At what point do our resources become thin to the point that we can't guarantee, and of course there's no guarantee, but we can't reasonably expect that things will be safe? You know, I've shared with a number of people this idea that if it was just me and you, and we brought in 5 kids, and we brought them in and we made sure that they were wearing masks and they were staying 6 feet apart and they washed their hands and they used hand sanitizer, and maybe we taught them a reading lesson together. And then we took them down somewhere to grab a bite to eat and kept them spread apart and washed their hands and all that good stuff that we know is so critical to safety at this point. And then we took them outside and they got to play a little bit, got some fresh air. Brought them back in at the end of the day, send them home, everyone's safe. Field the phone calls that we know we're going to field of concerns and joys and all of the things that happen at the end of the day, and parents wanting to know what's going on. And that at the end of that day, people can go home and get some rest and wake up and they're ready to go for day 2. Can we do that with 5 kids? Can we do that with 10 kids? Can we do that with 15 kids? Can we do that with 20 kids? At what point does that number move us into an area where safety becomes a greater concern? It's always going to be a concern. But at what point does that number become too high? And so this idea of a gradual return and still offering some type of in-person instruction allows us to learn on a day-to-day basis, but in a less pressured environment. And so as we reopen and we really focus on safety, this is also going to be a tremendous amount about focusing on learning from each other's classrooms, learning from each other's buildings. What went right? Where do we need to tweak so that the next day is better than the first day? And I think that what we're going to find is we're going to build on successive days. We're going to have some success. I'm certain we're going to have some setbacks. We're going to have issues that we'll need to sort through. But with all of that, working together and having a free flow of ideas, that safety aspect will continue to grow, and hopefully we're back to normal sooner than later. And of course, all of this guided by the Macomb County Health Department and where we're at. And fortunately, a variety of information that we've received recently is pointing us in the right direction. But that doesn't mean that that we aren't ready to be agile and adaptable to changes that might occur. Very briefly, I want to talk about redefining what our expectations are. Again, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Let's focus on the most simple aspects of what we do. I know that that the most powerful moments in my career were the one-on-one engagement with students, the personal opportunities that I had to help kids grow. I certainly know as a student, the people that defined my learning were the people that I was closest with, the people that cared for me the most. And I was listening to someone, I can't remember what it was, some inspirational thing on YouTube, where they talked about this concept that how is it possible on a 40 years after you had a student, you can remember one teacher's name, but you can't name any other teacher in that particular schedule. Unless you hit the jackpot and you had a schedule full of teachers that you remember. And it's that most critical item of developing relationships and caring for kids, and something that I know so many of us do on such a daily basis, is really the first priority that we look for. Let's get the kids back into the school. Let's make sure that they're safe. Let's care for them as we would our own children. Let's reconnect our kids and our buildings to what school used to look like. There is no timeline on this. We need to take as long as it takes to reconnect. There's been, I guess, for lack of a better word, significant trauma that's occurred within education at this point. An abrupt shutdown, thrown into emergency remote learning, and now we're trying to restart things. And in that restarting, there can't be a timeline on when we are back to what normal might look like. We have to gauge that on a regular basis. We have to constantly be evaluating how our kids are doing. We have to constantly be evaluating how we're doing and how we're hanging in there. We can't put too much pressure on ourselves as we move forward in learning. And eventually, when all of those pieces are put into place and things are clicking and kids are reconnected and we're reconnected, then we can move forward with learning. And that doesn't mean that those two things can't happen simultaneously. They certainly can. But I think it is important that everyone lowers their expectation or reduces the pressure that they feel on themselves to be moving things along at a rapid pace. Don't overburden yourself. We've got enough on our plate. And I want to tell you that the first thing is reconnecting kids and adults to our setting. And however long that takes is however long that takes, and that's okay. I think we have to protect our kids, and I think we have to protect our profession. There is a concern that's been shared by many that public education has always been under attack, and now this is the perfect circumstances for people to be opportunistic, to chip away at an institution that is so critical and valuable to the advancement of our society. We can't allow that to happen. We have to protect our profession. And the best way to do that is just like we did, to make ourselves invaluable to our community through service, through caring, through the guidance that we provide on a regular basis. Redefine what your expectations are. I think what we can't lose sight in all of this is that discussion that we began way back in January, I think it was, where we talked about reimagining what learning looks like. We have an opportunity here to reimagine what school looks like. This year is one that we could either dread going into or we could be exceptionally excited about, because we have the opportunity to reimagine learning. We have the opportunity to reimagine what school looks like. And I hope that you take advantage of that. There's a scene from a movie with Steve Carell and Morgan Freeman's in it. And Morgan Freeman is God, and Steve Carell's a newscaster. And if you know what the movie I'm talking about. Anyways, there's a scene in this movie where Morgan Freeman is having a conversation with Steve Carell's wife, and she's upset and she's concerned, and during their conversation, one of the characters says, "That sounds like an opportunity," and they go on to discuss, like, when you're praying for patience, you're not given patience, you're given the opportunity to be patient. Or if you want to be close with your family, you're not given warm fuzzies, you're given the opportunity to be close. And here we are. We might have been hoping for the opportunity, maybe hoping for the reimagining of learning, hoping for what the revolution of learning opportunities. And what we've been given is the opportunity to do that. And I just want to encourage all of you to move forward this year with that belief that if there wasn't a better time for us to reimagine learning, I don't know when there is. If there's something that comes out of a worldwide pandemic that could be positive, it's the fact that we could really redefine what learning looks like. Not for the glory of Lakeshore Public Schools, not for our own personal glory, not at all. For the fact that now is the time to change how we operate. We're forced to, because of the situation that we are in. But the reality is that so many things that have restricted innovative practices have been removed. And so now I think we can really seize that particular moment. And then finally, I just want to, remind you that we are in this very challenging moment, and it is no better opportunity to be optimistic, to believe that things will get better. I've long said to many people, no high highs, no low lows. When things are good, they're not as good as you think. When things are bad, they're not as bad as you think. Here I go back to that Wednesday before we closed. The enhancement millage was passed in Macomb County, and it seemed like things were as good as they could possibly get for Lakeshore Public Schools. 2 days later, things are closed, and we have challenges that we can't even imagine. But it did give us the opportunity to really do some great things this past spring. And I believe that as we move forward into this school year, we will most definitely seize this moment to make learning a better thing for kids, to work more closely with one another, even though that we're forced into this social distancing type environment. But really being optimistic that in spite of the fact that we face incredible challenges, that together we're going to really do some remarkable things in this particular school year. Optimism is not a lack of acknowledgement of the challenges that we face. It most certainly isn't. It's a belief that we together can forge a better future for our kids and for one another. And so with that, I want to wish you all the very, very best for the 2021 school year. I know it will be one like no other, but I just can't imagine having a better team to enter into this school year with than the team at Lakeshore Public Schools. So on behalf of I guess everyone, I want to thank you for being here. I want to congratulate you on making it through tough times so far, and I want to encourage you to believe and be optimistic that this year is going to provide us with great opportunity in spite of the challenges, and that together we will make it through this school year and will be much, much better as a result of the work that we do for the benefit of our kids, for the benefit of our community, and for the benefit of one another. So I want to wish you all a great school year. Thank you for your time, and with that, I will allow you to move on with your day. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you.